It's time to recap my June favorites with my cat Binks. It's been a while since he made an appearance. It's nice to have him back in a video. Apologies for any cat butts that we get. I just don't feel like I can ask him to leave because I love when he wants to hang out with me. I'll start by saying that June was kind of a rough month for me. I messed up at work, not once, but twice. Twice in a big way. I've just been dealing with a lot of just feeling bad about having messed up and trying to figure out how I can not mess up moving forward, while also recognizing that I'm a human and humans do in fact mess up. If you are going through it right now, just know you're not alone. It's very rare to have all sectors of your life working out perfectly. Personal, professional, romantic, whatever. And so while my professional sector of my life has been a struggle for the last month, there's still a lot of joy that I have found in my personal life, and I would like to share some of those favorites with you. And of course the refrigerator's kicked on. Would it be a cozy cabin video without the hum of the refrigerator? I think not. For the month of June, let's start with my favorite action. Now, we did not hit the minimum payment for the month of May, which means I had no payment for the month of June from Google, our overlords. But I did still take some action this month of June. And I attended the No Kings protest. I won't obviously get too far into the details. If you're not living in the United States, it was just a protest of our current government administration to say that we do still very much care about democracy in the United States. And it was a really wonderful experience. I went with a friend and made some new friends. Nothing quite like protesting together to really get to know someone. The vibes were really good. You could tell people were just excited to be in community, and we all felt very seen by each other because we all showed up to make our voices heard, even if we maybe felt scared or uncomfortable about putting ourselves out there like that. And I felt very held in that moment with all of these strangers. So that was very much my favorite action for the month of June. Let's move into something a little bit more lighthearted, which is my favorite purchase. As you know, I'm on a low buy here, but of the many things that I am not allowed to purchase, art is not one of those things. And I picked up 2 watercolor prints. Maybe I'll hold them over here today. 2 watercolor prints from an artist. Her name is Bethany Ray, W-R-A-Y. Bethany Ray, and she has a studio called Arrowleaf Studio. I'll drop a link in the description to her online store in case you want to check it out, but she's a watercolor artist. She had a partnership with Icicle Brewery, I believe, where she did a series of their labels for was like blue skies, gorgeous summer day, and then I got this one that's like perfect summer night. And I really liked all the dark green because in a lot of parts of Washington State, the summer starts out really green and beautiful, and then as it gets hotter, a lot of the state turns golden or brown. The time when it's this gorgeous greens everywhere, I really like the way that Bethany Ray captured that moment in time. And like, is there anything more beautiful than a summer sunset? Or just a sunset in general? Maybe a really good sunrise could compete, but there's something about a sunset that I love. So those were my two favorite purchases for the month of June. Next up, let's do my favorite thing that I've been watching this month, because I've been kind of going through it for the month of June. I fell back to the show that makes me feel better always, and that is Supernatural. Yep. So, I'm just kind of back on my bullshit again, watching Supernatural only, exclusively. It's like getting a hug. And sometimes we all need a hug, you know? I hope that this video is something like a hug for you. And that I can bring a tiny bit of comfort to you in whatever you're going through, whether it's happy or sad, exciting or nervous or scary. I hope this video finds you and brings you that hug. Specifically, I watched Supernatural, I think it was season 7, and a lot of times I'll just kind of skip around, pick random episodes. I'll do a random number generator sometimes, and have it pick a season, and then an episode number, and I'll just watch that. But I was in need of a little more consistency this month, so I did just watch the entire season, start to finish. So my favorite thing that I watched in June was Supernatural, for the 700th time, probably. Let's go to favorite experience. I took a little road trip, a solo road trip. I did a little hike, but on this hike, I went with a naturalist. Shout out to him, he was so cool. He took me and a couple strangers on a guided hike. It was like we had a human encyclopedia in front of us, and we would just say, what's that? What's that? What's that? What's that? Plants, birds, history of the area, you name it. I got to just walk around and learn the name of every plant that caught my eye. It was especially cool because a lot of the plants in this place that I was hiking, I have some overlap with the area that I live in, so some of them were familiar, but there was a lot of things that I'd never seen or looked kind of like something that I have around my house, but it was a little bit different. And that was just such a deep appreciation for nature, the seemingly infinite number of plants and flowers and weeds and grass and trees and birds and mosquitoes. Like, how cool is it that we live in a world that is so full of amazing things like that? And to get acid trip in a forest in the summer, and it's not going great. I don't know if I'm making that sound appealing.